and this is the only European air show where you will see one flying today. It comes to us from the 99th Expeditionary Reconnaissance Squadron of the United States Air Force, which is based here at RAF Fairford. And we are about to see a unique demonstration. We saw one of these aeroplanes in the flying program on the Friday of Riat 2024. This year we're hoping to see it across both weekend days, and we see it in a very different configuration. Not one that's ever been seen before at a British air show, to the best of my knowledge. Cleared to take off straight into its display, which it'll do in very short order. This is the incredible Lockheed U-2S. Great to see the unit flying again, but let's talk about the configuration of this aircraft. This isn't something we've seen in a flying program before.
No, what we're seeing today is multiple sensors as would look on an operational mission. Got signals intelligence on board, see the moves that are on wings. Those are not fuel tanks, but actually where mission equipment is. Looking and listening as we do. The imagery sensor on those, synthetic aperture radar, and the data link on the back of the airplane. Small satellite dish in that teardrop shape that takes the information that comes into the airplane and puts it through the satellite architecture to a ground station where they disseminate the information to the program users. Another unique thing that you're never going to see in another air show, year up past.
The senior span pod is taking on this aeroplane is like the super pod. That's right, the super pod. What about the nose configuration of this one? I know they carry different examples of that as well. Right, there are different noses that are put on the airplane, which is one of the things that adds to the complexity of landing the airplane. Sometimes the nose is longer than it is on other missions. So with the EOIR, the electrical optical infrared imagery sensor on it, it's a bit shorter than what you can see with the synthetic aperture radar, which is much longer nose. When you fully land the airplane with synthetic aperture radar, you can't see the runway because the nose is so long and tilts out as you go to land on the tail wheel that it completely hides the runway, which is why the mobile officer is there to assist in landing. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that. Is it still the Dodge Charger that's used as the chase car?
The interceptor package that we use with the police in the United States.
Yeah, that's right, Dodge Charger. Yeah. So just explain what's going on here in this display.
So today, what we just saw was just a normal takeoff being brought around to the gear up pass, which, as I said before, is something you're not going to see in any other air show. Typically leave the gear down. After the gear up pass, we're going to a high keys. It'll be a no-flap simulated flame-out approach. So what's happening now is the pilot is simulating that the engine has failed and a loss of hydraulics, which aids in drag in the airplane.
Now, while the aircraft is in mission fit for this demonstration, I'm expecting that the pilot is not in mission fit himself in terms of what he's wearing in the cockpit.
So because the pilot isn't going to be going on a Armstrong slide today, he will not be in, as we call it, a space suit, but he will be in just a classic flight suit. He's going to look like every other pilot, unfortunately for him.
So the profile that you're seeing now is what the U-2 would be doing if it had an actual flame out. The drag that you're seeing is simulating
the drag of the loss of the thrust. So really, the U-2 is a glider eventually, and which is why it would be able to glide from that current position all the way back to the runway.
It's absolutely incredible design, conceived, as I say, in the 1950s by Clarence Kevin Johnson, the legendary boss of the Skunk Works Advanced Development Projects team at Lockheed. And of course, it was necessary to achieve optimum performance for the sort of long-endurance, high-altitude reconnaissance mission this aircraft, right from the outset, was conceived to fly. From here, we're going to see the chase car really coming into play again. So what will the pilot be hearing from the chase car as he makes this low approach?
As the pilot's approaching the runway, the car will be driving on the runway unless they're doing a static call, and they'll be talking the pilot down. Now, what they're doing there is they're telling the pilot how far above the runway they are, typically from 10 feet down to the runway. And we count down to 2, 10, 8, 6, and so on. The rate at which the mobile officer is making those calls tells the pilot a lot to how he needs to react. And it's more than just a radar altimeter to tell the pilot more left rudder, less left rudder.
And there we see the car entering the runway. The spring of 1956, the CIA operated U-2s first came to Britain, being stationed temporarily RAF maintenance under the cover of undertaking weather research, but they were never operational. Later, they were deployed to Milton permanently, then to Albury, including the period where the type was operating as TR-1A guys, emphasizing the tactical reconnaissance task that it could undertake. But now, of course, Popeye, this operating location here at very well established.
That's right. We've been here since 2019, and very well established, hanging across the flight lines there. The U-2 that you see today is 40% larger than the original one that came here during that weather research, as we like to call it. And it's almost entirely a different aircraft because of its size. With that 40% larger capability, it can haul 4,000 pounds of equipment, both 7,000 feet, stay there for up to 12 hours.
And the 99 ERS, very much on call all the time for real-world operations.
Absolutely, and that is extremely busy, as are all the U-2 squadrons around the world. You can bet there is a U-2 airport 24/7, 365 somewhere in the world.
Now, I just heard the pilot telling the tower that this is going to be a full-stop landing on this approach.
This will be a full-stop landing, so you should see the chase car getting up right next to the airplane as it's landing. These mobile officers are providing those directed and forward calls down to touchdown.
And let's just reflect on the fact that when they return from operational missions, the pilots will be doing so in the quote spacesuit, and after a sort of this will last for 10 hours or more.
That's absolutely right. So that pilot, after a long sort of step up with the fatigue of sitting in one spot for that long, and the aid of your wingman in the car being able to assist you really helps get you through some real sticky situations with bad weather and things that can really jeopardize any flight operation.
So touching down now after an incredibly rare demonstration, the Lockheed U-2S of the 99th Expeditionary Reconnaissance Squadron, U.S. Air Force. what made these aircraft stay here, Popeye? Long may his dragon agree. An aircraft that has outlived so many of Kelly Johnson's other creations for Lockheed Skunk Works. And justifiably so, such is the capability it continues to provide. As the aircraft rolls past here, what's the tail arc we can see on it?
The tail that we're seeing is the 99th Expeditionary Reconnaissance Squadron's Friday patch.
Ah,
It's a dragon with a top hat sipping a cup of tea.
very nice indeed. And people can get up close to one in the more standard fit in the static part.
That's right. The clean airplane is that we usually use for pattern operations is over in static, and you can absolutely go take a look at that.
And again, where else would you see that? They can also take a look at the aeroplane.
It happens to be sitting very close by.
It's a 1939 Fairchild Argus. That's right. Well, Popeye, it's been a pleasure to have you here. Do thank the crew who put on that demonstration, and we hope that the wind conditions are suitable for a repetition tomorrow.
Let's hope it does.
Scott Thompson there, helping me talk through a tremendous exhibition of the U-2S.